Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Iole from Yahoo Sports, and it is my great pleasure to have one of the heavyweight champions and one of the really exciting fighters in boxing today, WBO heavyweight champ Joseph Parker. How are you, Joe?
Hi, Kevin. I'm good, thank you. Not too bad.
I appreciate having you on. You've got a big date coming up at the end of this month, March 31st. You're going into the Lions Den. Not only are you fighting Anthony Joshua, you're fighting him in Cardiff, Wales, where I figure there's going to be 75 or 80,000 screaming Anthony Joshua fans. How's camp going so far?
Hey, camp. To be totally honest, camp is going great. Camp has gone amazing so far. We're making the most of every single day. We're enjoying camp, but we're putting in hard work. And I believe this is probably, we say that we've had good camps in each fight, but I believe this has been the best camp so far.
Interesting.
And we're seeing signs of the speed coming back. We're seeing signs of combinations coming back. So we're looking forward to the experience of fighting in his hometown. We're looking forward to the experience of fighting in front of 80,000 people. And we're extremely excited because this is a big chance to put on the best performance of our lives.
I love this because in boxing, you don't normally see champions fight each other this quickly. When you won the belt, I thought, okay, it's going to be 2 or 3 years before we get these guys together. But, you guys made this happen. Can you tell me a little bit from your standpoint what you know about it and how it came down?
Well, there was I've always wanted to fight Anthony Joshua, and Kevin Barry, my coach, said to me, "We will fight him, but when we do fight him, it has to mean something." So we looked at it. We're both undefeated. We both have championship belts. We both keep winning and keep beating our opponents, and we thought it was the best time to fight him. So I reached out to my team and I said, "Hey guys, I would love to fight the best out there. I want to test myself." And so I left it in the hands of Duke Vince, David Higgins, and Kevin Barry. And our team reached out, and there are a few things that we said in the media to try and hype up the fight, to try and lock
Right.
it in. But I think we're all interested in the fight. We all wanted to make it happen, and so we reached out, and obviously they came back, and we had a bit of a negotiation. It was a bit of going back and forth to see what everyone's happy with, and once we sort of settled on a deal, it's all go.
I'm going to talk to you about Joshua a little bit, but I want to ask you. You said something a second ago. The speed is coming back, and the punches are coming back. One of the things I thought, I was raving about you as you were coming up and winning fights. I thought the last two fights, not the Ruiz fight, but the Kojanu fight and the Huey Fury fight, I thought kind of you stagnated a little bit and didn't see the progress that I had seen you making. Do you feel that way? Did you feel like something happened that maybe you didn't keep going up the ladder?
Yeah, most definitely. I felt like I sort of felt back, but I felt like I fell back from the performance that I put on in the past. So the last two fights, they're sort of judging me on that, and there's this they're coming into the fight thinking that I'm going to be the same fighter or that I'm going to put on the same performance. But this is different. I feel like we're going back to the days where we showed a lot of speed, we showed a lot of movement, we showed a lot of combinations. So that's what's exciting because everyone's underestimating and thinking that we're going to put on the same performance, but we're going to come out and sort of give everyone a surprise. And that's what excites me. And we had a great sparring session today where we can see signs of everything that's coming together nicely.
One of the things I liked about you as a big man is, how athletic you were. And I was thinking, boy, this guy, he's a big guy and he's obviously strong, but he's got some athleticism. What do you think happened? Did you overtrain or what was it that, maybe led to the little backslide that you had?
There could be a trend. There's a lot of there's numerous amount of things I think that they could sort of say why we're like that. There's injuries, there's things happening in the background, promotional team, management team, all these different things. So sometimes when you're not really, when you're focused on the fight, but you have other things in the background, it may cause, an upset in your training or in the fighter. So I'm not making any excuses, but this is probably the clearest my head has been. This is the best and the most focused I've been. So, like, when everyone says that the last two fights wasn't the best, I agree, it wasn't the best, and I know I can do a lot better.
I think that's that's encouraging to hear somebody say, because if they recognize, hey, I had a little problem and you can correct it, as opposed to saying, hey, everything is great. So you're fighting a guy that you would seem to think is at the top of his game. He looked great against Vladimir Klitschko, and I want to get your comment on this. He fought Carlos Takam in his last fight, and it was a late replacement, and a lot of people were wondering, hey, how are you going to handle a replacement? But he seemed to handle that pretty well. Were you impressed by what he did in that fight and taking the late replacement?
I was impressed because when you're training for someone that's 6 foot, 5 or 6, you're sparring different opponents. You're sparring everyone that's at that height and people that are going to bring in good work. So when there's a late replacement, sometimes they can take off the edge, and sometimes they can sort of you sort of ease off in training or maybe ease off in fight. But he did what he had to do to win, and if you can adjust and change that quickly, then that's impressive.
And did you feel like, Lou DiBella, the promoter of Deontay Wilder, every time I bring up, I thought that, hey, Joshua looked pretty good against Vladimir Klitschko. He dogs Vladimir Klitschko, and Vladimir was an old guy at the end of the line. I suppose there's two ways of looking at it. It was a great fight, no matter how you want to slice it. But what was your take on the victory over Klitschko? Were you impressed by what Anthony did, or did you see openings that you might be able to take advantage of?
As a fan of boxing and as someone who's watching, because there might be, I knew that he would be a future opponent. I'm watching the mistakes and I'm watching his weaknesses and his strengths. So what I took from that fight is there's a lot of respect because he got knocked down. He got the heart of the champion, and it just shows that. Because I know that Klitschko doesn't muck around in training. Klitschko gives it everything in training. So for Joshua to be knocked down and come back up and beat him, a lot of respect there. He showed the heart of a champion. And he showed that when times do get tough, he can get up and finish it off. So there's a lot of respect there. There's a lot of things I saw which I think I can do a lot better with him when I get to the fight with him. And there's a lot of things that I know that he'll try and use on me that I have to try and avoid.
Your movement might be a factor in this fight, I would think. I mean, it seems like you're a pretty agile guy. I don't know what you're planning to go in the fight, but you're a 6'4" and a big husky guy. Do you think your athletic ability and your ability to move might create angles that are difficult for him?
That's exactly what we've been working on this camp. With the last, like I said, with the last two fights, not too not the movement wasn't as good, the angles weren't as good, but this fight, the movement and angle is going to be very important and it's going to be key. And I think mixing it up and down, and so we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing signs of it in the gym. We're seeing signs of it, and when we're doing the pads, bag work, sparring. So we're looking forward to putting on a great display.
Are you one of those guys that you can tell sort of, early on in camp, hey, I'm on this and I'm in a groove? Is it kind of like a golf swing? Hey, when you're hitting the ball in the range, you're going to bring it out there and hit it on the course? Or is it a daily thing with you?
Uh, I like at the beginning of camp, I set my mind to. I know that this is a big task and this is a big challenge. So I want to put everything into camp. And when I go into the fight, I don't care what the result is, as long as I know I've trained as hard as I can to be in the best shape that I can be in. And the last two fights, I keep going back to them, but I came in heavy. I came in at 112 kgs, 113, but I'm already at about 109. So I'm kind of coming in at about 108 kgs. And it's going to be, like I said, the beginning of camp, I set goals, and every single day we're seeing improvements, which is why we're excited.
You fought so much in the South Pacific, in New Zealand and Australia and whatnot. And I wonder if there's more pressure on you fighting down there where you're from, and you have a huge fan base, and people have a lot of expectations of you. If you go to Wales, where it's going to be crazy, there's going to be a lot of people rooting on Anthony Joshua, but the expectations on you may not be the same. And so, do you feel like that? That's in a way a relief that will let you just relax and focus on what you have to do.
Yeah, like that's exactly on point. When you're in New Zealand, you have family, you have friends, you have the country behind you, so there's a bit of pressure. And like I said, when we go to Wales, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. There's expectation that he is going to come in there and blast me out. There's expectation he has to put on a great performance because he put on some good performances before. So there's less pressure, but even if there was pressure, it's how you deal with it. And I'm thankful that I have a great team around me who keep me composed, who keep me relaxed. And when I know, like I said, when I know I've done the work, that keeps me confident as well.
You're going to be the unified champion if you win 3 of the 4 major belts. Would it be a goal of yours? I'll ask two things. Number one, is there a rematch clause? So if you win, do you have to give Anthony a rematch? And then number two, if you don't, if you're free, would you be looking to unify the title your next time out or somewhere in 2018?
So the where it stands at the moment is that in the contract, if I win, then there's a rematch clause for him. But if he wins, there's no rematch for myself. So I know we were going back and forth trying to get rematch, and I just said to myself, this is the chance just to give it everything I have. And so, say everything goes well and I beat him, we'll be fighting him again later on in the year. So that's I've pretty much mapped out what I want to do this year, but it comes down to what happens in the ring.
It's life altering too. The kind of money you get in these fights, right? So I mean, how does that play into it? Because hey, you win these two fights and you set yourself up for life, and probably your kids and your kids are set up for life. Do you allow yourself to think of that and like where you've come from and where you might be with two wins or even one win?
Oh, of course, that's a major part of it. I started off doing boxing because of the love for the sport and the passion of the sport. But as you grow and as you start learning the sport more, you start learning about the business side of things as well. So, now you're fighting because you still love the sport, but you're also fighting to look after yourself and your family. And boxing's done great for myself and my family. I'm able to look after my parents. I bought a house for myself and my family. So it's it's a win-win. You do what you love to do, but then you get paid for it.
I want to ask you about the division. I've been raving, since you and Wilder and Anthony all started coming up that, hey, finally we have a heavyweight division that we might, like. But is it go more than three deep? Do you feel like, or four deep, Luis Ortiz is in that mix too. Do you feel like, we have some depth at the heavyweight division finally? And are there other guys that people should watch out for?
But most definitely, I think at the moment, no, because we have the titles, then we're the ones to look out for. But you can never let your guard down because there's other heavyweights coming up. There's other heavyweights training hard. There's other heavyweights that want to be in our position. So we have to be alert. We have to be aware. We have to keep watching who's coming up. And I think with us keeping active and fighting often, the heavyweight division is going to be booming. It's booming now, but it's going to keep growing and keep getting better.
And how do you focus on that? I mean, do you and I know you're one fight at a time, but like when you look at the division, do you kind of relish it and say, hey, there's a lot of opportunity out there? Because you look at like, I'll take somebody like Evander Holyfield. He fought Lennox Lewis. He fought Mike Tyson. I mean, you go up and down the list. Everybody that was there in the day, he did. And I think that's the epitaph on his grave. He fought everybody. Is that what you want Joe Parker's epitaph to be? Hey, this guy came to fight and he fought everybody.
I want it to be known. My goal is, or the goal for our team is to fight the best in the world. We want to fight everyone that's out there who is the best in the world. So we want to be known as the fighter who didn't shy away from anyone, who wasn't scared of anyone, who wanted to fight every single person there was and try and make his mark in the heavyweight division.
I want to end with this. Your trainer, Kevin Barry, is a longtime friend of mine. I covered him way back in the day. Remember him when he was a fighter. So I've known Kev for a long time. And I know when he had David Tua and was making a run at the belt with David, how much it meant to him to see his guy win the title. How special was it for you to share that with him when you beat Andy and you won the WBO belt, Andy Ruiz, when you won that belt? What was that like for you and Kevin? You'd worked a long time together. I know how much you worked for it, but also he did for a long time too. What did that mean?
To be totally honest, it meant the world. I mean, firstly, I set goals for myself to be the New Zealand champion, world champion, now unified champion. But when we won that title, everything that we worked together. We worked together for how many? 3-4 years. And when it came to that point, we won the title. We just celebrated. We hugged each other. It was like a dream come true for both of us. He wanted to have a heavyweight champion. He missed out on tour, but then he got the opportunity with myself. And I'm thankful to have a coach like Kevin, who's not only a coach but like a father figure. He looks after me. He in his house. He makes sure that every single day I'm all right. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. So he's more than just a coach. He's like a father, and I really do love him.
That's awesome. One last thing, when you fought Ruiz, I'm sure you thought you won the fight when it's over. But how bad are those moments from the final bell sounds and now it's out of your hands? You can't do anything until the ring announcer reads those cards. Did you feel helpless? What was that feeling like?
It was just like, you're like, please, please. I hope I did enough. Or I felt that I did win, but I've seen a few videos of Andy saying he didn't have the best camp. We didn't have the best camp. But I think most of it, we put on a great performance. We put on the best fight that we could, and we just had to leave it in the judges' hands to see who won. So I'm very thankful and grateful and blessed to be able to call myself champion of the world. And it was a bit scary, a bit nervous at that time. But once they called it out, we were extremely happy.
I can only imagine. Well, congratulations, Joe. March 31st in Cardiff, Wales. It's going to be live in the U.S. on Showtime. Joseph Parker versus Anthony Joshua for not one, not two, but three of the 4 heavyweight title belts. I wish you all the best, my friend. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much.
Be well.